All right, so the Green Revolution is obviously a big contributor to population growth. Um, we're more civilized than we used to be, and we know how to harvest crops and plants more, and not only just plants, but also animals, and get that usage out of those things. I feel like the main contributors to the population growth are one, technological advancements. We have a lot more technology. We have a lot more healthcare. We have more things we can do, with doctors and making sure people live longer. I think the biggest thing is people live longer nowadays, whereas, the average lifespan was around, 40 to 50 years old back in the day. People didn't really see it to 60, 70, 80 years old, whereas now the average lifespan is around 70, almost 80 years old. So I feel like people live longer, which means they produce more. People have grandkids and great grandkids now, whereas before, people lived long enough to see their kids grow up and maybe have grandkids, but that was very rare. I kind of touched on this earlier, but advances in medicine are definitely a big thing because people are able to keep their offspring alive. A lot of the times people would have kids and they would die very early. They wouldn't make it through labor, or they wouldn't make it past birth because life was tough back then, unfortunately. Disease, famine, things like that often reduce the population, whereas famine is not as big as an issue now, at least in more developed countries. Obviously, less fortunate countries have famine as well. But I do think that there are a lot of things that are different now in our era versus prior. I was researching and I found that in 1900, the population was only 2 billion people. The population is upwards to 8 billion almost right about now. So population's definitely increased significantly over the last 120 years. That is just due to so many technological and medical advancements, like as I was saying earlier. So to pick up on the next question, yes, I do think we will reach 12 billion by 2150. 12 billion sounds like a lot. That's a little bit over 4 billion more than what we're at now. But we do have 128 years, and I do think in 128 years we will definitely increase a couple billion people. Things are only looking up as far as I see it. Things are getting better. Technology is advancing. Our medical status is definitely advancing. So I feel like our lifespans are going to keep increasing, and people are definitely going to keep having more and more kids. I feel like we're in an age now where it's like everyone has kids now for the most part. That's kind of the goal of our society now, is to raise a family and carry on our lineage. So I feel like definitely by 2150 we will have 12 billion people. Do I think we'll be living comfortably? That's something I don't know, because we are running out of resources and land. There's countries like China where they put limits onto how many kids people can have. So I definitely see it being not necessarily problematic, but I can definitely see some issues arising with that. But I do think by 2150 we'll have 12 billion people for sure. I think maybe potentially even more than that. As I said before, we had about 5 billion increase, a little bit over that from 1900 to 2022. So I definitely think that 4 or so billion increase will definitely happen. Also, by the way, I'm at work right now. I already took this video earlier, but it didn't upload for some reason, so I just basically recovered everything I talked on. So that's why there's a lot of background noise. I apologize for that. I try to be more prepared and on time and do this ahead of work, but I always have uploading issues with this every week, so that's what that is.